In this chapter, we dive into the critical role that foundation types play in not only the structural stability of your house, but also the comfort and energy efficiency of your home as well. Understanding the unique characteristics of basements, crawl spaces, concrete slabs, and combinations of them is essential to understanding how your house functions and what improvements are even possible. We'll discuss the pros and cons of each one here. First, we'll talk about basement foundations. Basements serve as the cornerstone of many homes and can provide additional living space and storage areas. They are more commonly found in the middle and northern parts of the United States versus the southern states, where the soil underground isn't as stable. If the basement is not completely finished and covered with drywall, they are generally easier to make improvements on versus houses with crawl spaces or slab foundations. Basements also come with their own set of challenges, and if the basement is finished, making improvements will be more difficult and can require removing drywall in order to access and fix the problem areas. Older homes with basements often have issues with water leaking inside them, especially when there are grading issues outside around the perimeter of the foundation. If your basement is still wet or musty, even though the ground slopes away from your house, you might have what's called a high water table. The water table around your house is the level underneath the ground surface where the soil becomes saturated. In some places it can be far below the surface level, and in others it can be just below the surface. And this is what's referred to as a high water table. If your basement has leaks and you find there's a high water table surrounding your house, you will most likely need to install a perimeter drainage system inside your basement with a sump pump to remove any water that leaks inside. As we discussed in previous chapters, you must address any moisture issues in homes and especially foundations before attempting to air seal and add insulation in order to avoid creating more problems down the road. Older homes with basements typically don't have any insulation covering the concrete or masonry walls, and because of that, they are prone to more heat loss in the wintertime and heat gain in the summertime. Most homes with basements will also have the heating and cooling system located inside the basement, along with the ductwork that serves any floors above, and typically the water heater as well. Since concrete and masonry materials absorb moisture over time, you don't want any wood framing or fibrous insulation materials directly in contact with these walls. Examples of fibrous insulation are fiberglass, cellulose, or Roxol. The best ways to insulate basement foundation walls is with foam board or spray foam insulation, and preferably closed cell spray foam, as open cell spray foam can wick moisture into it over time, whereas closed cell spray foam cannot. In most areas of the country, basement walls are required to be insulated to an R10 or better. Anything less than that really isn't worth your time and money. This would equate to 2-inch thick foam board or about 1.5 to 2 inches thick of closed cell spray foam insulation. If you live in very northern states or even Canada, then consider insulating to an R20 or more. Fiberglass insulation is often used to insulate basement walls, but it shouldn't be in direct contact with the foundation due to the aforementioned moisture reasons. However, it's still done every day in new construction with what's called blanket wrap insulation. Blanket wrap is basically a large roll of fiberglass insulation with a white vinyl cover over the interior side. I call them basement diapers because that's what they look like, and the fact that the vinyl cover prevents moisture inside the foundation wall from evaporating into the house. This moisture gets trapped behind the vinyl within the fiberglass insulation and creates conditions ripe for mold and fungal growth. This is the main reason why we don't recommend it. Now let's discuss the two types of basements out there, which are pit basements and walkout basements. Walkout basements have become more common in the last 30 to 40 years, and they have windows and doors that allow you to go outside directly from the basement. The walls with windows and doors are typically framed with wood and insulated like the rest of the house is on the first floor above. The two adjacent sides of the walkout basement have what are called step walls, where the lower portion of the wall is made from concrete and the upper portion is framed with wood studs that should be insulated like the rest of the exterior walls. The problem is, most of the time, those framed step walls are not insulated properly when fiberglass or cellulose insulation is used, because there's usually another framed wall built in front of the step wall that the drywall is actually installed on. And this creates a big gap between the insulation and the drywall that is meant to act as the air barrier for the insulation inside the step wall. Even if the framed wall installed in front of the step wall is insulated, unless the step wall behind it is insulated and a proper air barrier is installed over top of it, then the insulation in the framed wall doesn't really help much. Whenever fibrous insulation is used in these walls, you must install a proper air barrier directly over the insulation and seal it to the surrounding framing, otherwise the insulation will not perform as intended. You'll learn more about air barriers and insulation in the air sealing and insulation chapters of this course. The only time an air barrier is not needed over the insulation in the step walls is when spray foam insulation is used, which acts as an air barrier and an insulation material in one application. The other type of basement are pit basements, and they're the traditional kind that you're probably most familiar with. They can have small windows, but typically they don't have a door that allows you to walk outside. Concrete walls may seem like a good way to keep heat inside your house, but they're actually very poor insulators and only provide an R value of about R1 for an 8 to 10 inch thick wall. Concrete and masonry materials in general absorb heat very easily and they release that heat slowly to the cold side of the walls. So in the wintertime, this means the heat inside your house is absorbed through the basement walls and released to the cold side outdoors. This heat loss occurs primarily from the top of the concrete walls down to roughly about 2 feet below the ground outside. Once you're more than 2 feet underground, the rate of heat loss slows as the ground provides some insulation. So we generally recommend insulating at least 4 feet down from the top of the foundation walls, since most foundation walls only extend above the ground about a foot or two. Again, that insulation should have a minimum R value of R10 to be beneficial. Crawlspace foundations. Crawlspaces are like short basements that are usually much harder to access and move around in. They present unique challenges due to the lack of space and the fact that plumbing and electrical lines as well as ductwork are often located inside them, which can further restrict the ability to move around inside them. Some common issues with crawl spaces include high humidity, which can result in mold and fungal growth over time, inadequate or missing insulation, air leakage through vents in the walls or other penetrations through the rim joists, duct leakage from unsealed ductwork, and insect and rodent infestations. A lot of humidity issues found in crawl spaces come from moisture evaporating out of the ground below, and this is why installing a proper vapor barrier is so important. Another big source of humidity issues in crawl spaces comes from the vents that are installed in the foundation walls themselves. In the past, most homes built on crawl space foundations had vents cut into the foundation walls that were intended to allow any moisture inside the crawl space to get out. Over the last few decades, building science has proven that adding ventilation like this to crawl spaces actually adds more moisture to the crawl space than it could possibly remove. In the summertime, these vents allow hot and humid outdoor air to enter into the crawl space, and since the air inside the crawl space is cooler than outside, the heat and humidity entering through the vents will condense on any surface below the dew point of the air inside the crawl space, such as metal ductwork, piping, or any other plumbing materials. Today, many new homes are built with conditioned crawl spaces that are much better at controlling moisture and heat. A conditioned crawl space is one that has no ventilation and is air sealed from the outdoors, has a proper vapor barrier installed over the ground that is sealed to the foundation walls that are insulated, and preferably insulated with closed cell spray foam or foam board insulation. They also typically have supply air coming from the heating and cooling system going directly into the crawl space to keep it roughly the same temperature as the rest of the house above. Sometimes installing a dedicated dehumidifier inside the crawl space is necessary to remove the moisture from there as well. Many older homes with crawl spaces were built with stones, bricks, or concrete blocks called CMUs, which stands for Concrete Masonry Unit. These blocks are hollow, so unlike concrete walls that are filled with 8 inches or more of concrete, these block walls are less structurally sound, and they also allow more moisture to move through them more easily. Those concrete blocks can be filled with concrete during construction, but most often they are not. If your house has a hollow concrete block foundation and there are grading issues around it, and/or you have a high water table, it's very likely that the concrete blocks are filled with water for at least part of the year. And this is a very bad thing if it's not fixed properly, and it will degrade the concrete blocks over time and also raise the humidity level inside your home. To summarize the crawl space section here, as a general rule with ventilated crawl spaces, after you address any moisture issues first, I recommend blocking and sealing any foundation vents with 2-inch thick foam board, then install at least 2-inch thick closed cell spray foam insulation on the foundation walls and the rim joists, and air seal and insulate any ductwork to improve the overall comfort and efficiency in there. Now let's talk about slab foundations. Concrete slab foundations have a pretty simple design. They're less expensive to build, and they can be installed much faster than a crawl space or a basement foundation. For these reasons, most large home builders in the United States build with slabs more often than not. Slab foundations present their own set of challenges related to moisture, insulation, air leakage, and HVAC efficiency. Insulating slabs properly during construction can be challenging, and many builders skip this step altogether, unless a building inspector is required to see the insulation installed before concrete is poured. Even if insulation is added during construction, it usually only has an R value of R10. Most homes with concrete slab foundations have cold floors in the wintertime due to this lack of insulation and the fact it's directly connected to the cold ground outdoors. After construction is complete, there's really no good way to insulate a concrete slab, unfortunately. The majority of homes built with slab foundations have all the ductwork located in the attic space, and many of them have the furnace and water heater located inside the garage. So essentially the entire HVAC system and the ductwork is located outside the living space. This reduces the overall efficiency of the HVAC system and adds to the heating and cooling loads for the house year-round. One common upgrade we recommend on houses like this is to condition the attic space by sealing off all attic vents and installing spray foam insulation to the underside of the roof decking, which brings the HVAC system inside the thermal and pressure boundaries, increasing the overall efficiency of the house and the heating and cooling system. You'll learn more about conditioned attics in the insulation and air sealing section of this course. Air leakage between the slab and bottom plates of the exterior walls is the most common issue that can easily be solved during construction by using silicone caulk to seal the gap between the bottom plates and the concrete below. In 2-story homes built on slabs, this issue is more prevalent as stack effect pulls more air in through this gap from the outside. If you have an older home built on a slab, the only way to seal that gap is by removing any flooring materials covering the slab, and sometimes even the base trim on the exterior walls, in order to reach that gap. Sometimes it's possible to insert a tube of silicone caulk underneath the base trim and fill the gap that way, but I only recommend doing this if you're planning to replace the carpet or other flooring materials anyway. Now let's discuss foundation combinations. There are lots of situations where more than one type of foundation is used in a home, and the most common type of combination is with basements and crawl spaces. This is especially true with houses that have had room additions done, and in the past most of those crawl spaces are ventilated, unfortunately. The main issue with ventilated crawl spaces that are connected to basements is that outdoor air moves through the crawl space vents and eventually into the basement of the house, which adds to the total air leakage of the house, adds more relative humidity to the house, and it also introduces new pathways for insects and rodents to enter the house. If your house has a crawl space and a basement, the recommendations for improvements we previously covered apply here as well. Sometimes it's also beneficial to block off any openings from the basement leading into the crawl space with wood or foam board to further prevent insects and rodents from getting into the main part of the home. Foundation combinations found less often are slabs and basements and crawl spaces and slabs. The same recommendations provided earlier for each type apply to these as well. For what it's worth, if you're planning to do an addition to your house, we recommend using a crawl space with concrete walls insulated with at least 2-inch thick foam board or closed cell spray foam, as these are much easier to insulate than slab foundations.